I think you've alluded to mutations a couple times, and obviously mutations have been something that's been super prevalent as of recently with the UK virus or whatever. I think you mentioned it was kind of a normal process for mutations to happen, but maybe describe why mutations happen, why they're normal, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So mutations are going to mutate. You know what I mean? So it's going to happen. It's like I said, RNA is pretty unstable, and and this happens with DNA too. Just by when you replicate a piece of RNA, sometimes you make a mistake. Essentially, is what's going on. So every time a new virus particle is made, and this happens in humans, whenever you make a new cell in your body, whenever mitosis happens, whenever you copy it, there's a chance you make a mistake. But then the thing is that once you make a mistake, the virus that's new that has that mistake doesn't have any concept, can't remember what it should be essentially. So it's just going to carry that mistake until that virus dies, or until it, or if it keeps replicating, then that mistake will get inherited by everything else. So that's what a mutation is basically, is when trying to copy the genetic material, a mistake happens. Now, like 99.999% of the time, the mistake that happens is not good for whatever just got that mistake. Essentially, usually it causes a virus that is worse at replicating, usually, because it's easier to break something than it is to improve upon something, basically. But in the very, very slim, number of times, sometimes that mistake does improve that virus, and suddenly you have a virus, and this is literally like evolution at work, is like now you have a virus that is different than the other viruses and replicates slightly faster or something like that, than the others. And so it starts replicating more and more and more relative to the others around it. And then that's how you get these variants, essentially, where this one virus happened to pick up a mutation that was beneficial to it, and now is spreading, essentially, and all the copies of it, unless they make mistakes, will have that mutation.
So mutations are meant to happen, and they're a natural part of basically evolution of a virus, so to speak.
Yeah, or anything else really. And this is like sort of why, I mean, in humans, like that's why people get cancer, is because as you age and stuff like that, as your cells divide, they make mistakes occasionally, and unfortunately those mistakes can lead to cells replicating too much and stuff like that. And that's how cancer accumulates, essentially, is these process of mistakes. And yeah, like I said, most of the time, and that's the thing, is like I said, the vast majority of times these mistakes are bad for whatever they happen to. But for viruses, like in a single person, there's like billions of individual virus molecules at a time. So, it's just kind of bound to happen, just with so much going on, essentially. Yeah.
Right. And just because a mutation happened doesn't necessarily mean the lethality of that virus has changed, right? Like it may have become
Right.
more efficient in spreading, but just because it's more efficient in spreading doesn't necessarily mean it's going to kill you faster or kill you more so than the original virus itself.
Right. And there are certain parts of viruses that mutate more quickly than others, sort of by that same principle, in that, like, if a part of a virus is like essential for it to function, that part is going to mutate less, because it's more unlikely that like any mutations there are going to kill the virus. But like there are other parts of the virus that maybe are less essential, and those can mutate more. And so that's and so essentially these mutations can cause things like, they can change like infectivity, like how likely you are to get infected with the virus if you're exposed to it. They can infect like the replication rate of the virus, or they could infect, potentially lethality that could happen, but they aren't all necessarily connected. There isn't like one mutation that makes the virus better in every way or anything like that. So yeah.